learning how to eat the fruit that is in season. Never thought I'd be a grown-ass man. But you know what they say, a best laid plans. Now I'm holding on to my daughter's hand. I've got a reason to be alive. Oh yeah, baby, I'm thriving. Yeah, yeah, I'm living my best life. I wake up with the sunrise. It does not look a thing like I thought that it would, but I've been getting my steps in, and I sleep with my best friend. It's the best that it has been in a long time. I'm living my best life. Yeah, living my best life. Yeah. Come on. I'm living my best life, the best that I can. No more worries, stress life, 'cause I'm done with it. I'm as light as can be. I'm as fresh as a breeze, right where I wanna be. So if you need to find me, I'll be living my best life. Waking up with the sunrise, looking at things like what the actual hell. But I've been counting my blessings. Now I sleep with my best friend. It's the best that it has been for a long time. It's the best that it has been for a long time. I'm living my best life. Yeah, yeah, living my best life. I've been living my best life. British countryside, every single southern college town. Sat with important men and felt like one of them. Stood at Cyprus in between the clouds. I thought I'd seen all there is to see. I spent all this time chasing my dreams, and none of them came true till you were here with me. It's a wonderful world filled with fabulous things. I traded all away to have you here with me. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful world. I've taken medicine, I bought an ottoman. I got a bigger house with bigger trees. I'm getting better at not blaming mom and dad. I'm trying to figure out what it all means. I thought that I'd done all the right things. I spent all this time building a dream, but none of it came true till you were here with me. It's a wonderful world filled with fabulous things. I traded all away to have you here with me. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful world. I spent all this time chasing a dream, but none of it was true until you were here with me. It's a wonderful world filled with fabulous things. I trade them all away to have you here with me. I trade them all away to have you here with me. 14A window seat, tennis shoes and faded jeans. Nervous as he tells me it's his first time on a plane. We took off and headed east. I was thumbing through the magazines. He felt like talking and offered me his name. So I asked him how he was, and he smiled and said, well, son, I've been better, I've been worse. I've chased after pretty girls, seen a couple places that I never thought I'd see. I've walked into harder times, I've walked out the other side. It seems like you end up getting what you need. Yeah, looking down from 30,000 feet, life's been good to me. I'd been out a month or so, another night, another show, 100 different cities, they all just seem the same. He asked me what it must be like singing songs under the lights. Well, it's got its moments, just the same as anything. I miss my town, I miss my wife, but I'm up here with you tonight. I said I've been better, I've been worse. I have loved a pretty girl, I've seen a couple places that I never thought I'd see. I've walked into harder times, I've walked out the other side. It seems like you end up getting what you need. Yeah, looking down from 30,000 feet, life's been good to me. Good to me. Sometimes we can get lost, living in the here and now. Sometimes it takes the sky to see what's on the ground. I've been better, I've been worse. I've chased after pretty girls, I've seen a couple places that I never thought I'd see. I've walked into harder times, I've walked out the other side. It seems like you end up getting what you need. Yeah, looking down from 30,000 feet, life's been good to me. Good to me. You won't believe it, and strange as it sounds, extraordinary magic follows you around, and the camera can't catch it. You won't see it in the mirror. If I say look behind you, you turn around, it disappears. But I see it, I see it, I swear I do. I see extraordinary magic in you. Out of thin air you appeared in my life, like a burst of technicolor in a world of black and white. When my heart was locked inside a box, you reached inside, and now I see my future when I look into your eyes. I see it, I see it, I swear I do. I see extraordinary magic in you. I know that miracles happen. Who cares what they say? This love's nothing short of a miracle happening over and over every day. So I'll keep my eyes open, awed and amazed, and if you start to doubt it, I'll remind you of the million ways I see it, I see it, I swear I do, I see extraordinary magic in you. One, two. Yep.
When it's the end of the weekend, but not quite the end of the weekend. Check it out. It is what it is. You got me feeling.
You make me feel like I'm in all my best clothes. So good that I don't care that Chick-fil-A's closed. Like a slow motion cruise on the back roads and byways. Windows down and avoiding the highways. Nothing else that I wanna do but take all day and waste it with you. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. You got me saying hallelujah, saying praise. You got me feeling like the night is gone and the sun is here to stay. Whoa, you got me feeling like the weekend. You give me something to believe in when I'm swimming in the deep end. Sky is baby blue and the blues all gone away. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. And maybe we should make some breakfast. We got lots of time, that seems like a good investment. It's the end of the week and I make a mean quiche. Maybe all of our friends should come over to eat. Nothing else that I wanna do but take all of my time and waste it with you. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. You got me saying hallelujah, saying praise. You got me feeling like the night is gone and the sun is here to stay. Whoa, you got me feeling like the weekend. You give me something to believe in when I'm swimming in the deep end. Sky is baby blue and the blues all gone away. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. You got me feeling like it's Sunday.
You got me feeling like Chick-fil-A was open on a Sunday.
Snoop, I know. We tried, it was closed. Wouldn't that be great?
Check it out, this a hit. You can tell radio. All the DJs will play it cause we got that hustle and flow. I'm feeling good, feeling fresh, feeling blessed, little stress.
And when I'm with you, I feel that joy inside my chest.
What you feel just depends on what you see, but just don't take it from me. I'm just a D.O. double G.
You got me saying hallelujah, saying praise. You got me feeling like the night is gone and the sun is here to stay. Whoa, you got me feeling like the weekend. Feeling like the weekend. You give me something to believe in when I'm swimming in the deep end. Sky is baby blue and my blues all gone away. You got me feeling like it's Sunday, Sunday. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. Skies are blue and the clouds are gone away. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. All my friends been asking where Amanda's been. They said she seemed like such a perfect 10. And I asked me when I was gonna take her home to Cleveland. She was just your type, dark hair and with the green brown eyes, real smart and she cleaned up nice. They asked me why, said if you really need a reason, well, I'm looking for a girl that's fine. If I drive a Civic and she does not mind, riding in it with the windows down, cranking Steve, Winwood loud next to me. I'm looking for a girl who's seen house blown speakers and a broke AC and a two-seater with 250,000 miles on the motor. And she was looking for that Range Rover. When she was searching for designer homes, the custom kitchen with the Viking stove, saving pictures on that big iPhone, you know the one. And she hated beer, she didn't catch a college game all year. She was way too into my curry. She tried to pick the single and it all came clear that I was looking for a girl that's fine. If I drive a Civic and she does not mind, riding in it with the windows down, cranking Steve, Winwood loud next to me. I'm looking for a girl who's seen house blown speakers and a broke AC and a two-seater with 250,000 miles on the motor. And she was looking for that Range Rover. She just wants that, she wants that Range Rover. Just wants that Range Rover. Well, she was looking for that Range Rover. I was in a Civic. I tried to take a road trip and she just wasn't with it. If this music wasn't paying, she'd have left me in a minute. Left me in a minute. Oh, I'm looking for a girl that's fine. If I drive a Civic and she does not mind, riding in it with the windows down, cranking Steve, Winwood loud next to me. I'm looking for a girl who's seen house blown speakers and a broke AC in a two-seater with 250,000 miles on the motor. And she was looking for that Range Rover. She just wants that, she wants that Range Rover. Just wants that Range Rover. Well, my father, he'll never see his name in lights. Worked hard at desk his whole damn life. Didn't chase his dreams, gave himself so me and my sister to be alright. Sometimes I wonder, they'll say of me when I am gone, when my daughter's living on it. Will she carry strangers? Thought that I was famous, but just that I was never home. Is it the things you've done, the places that you've been, chasing down some dream you've been imagining? Or is it making peace with who you are and where you stand? I'm trying to find what makes a man. Oh, oh, what makes a man? If I'm honest, I'm plagued by the fear that I'm not enough. Yeah. So I work hard to measure up. I've run 1,000,000 miles, climbed a mountain high, felt the same when I was done. Is it things you've done, places that you've been, chasing down some dream you've been imagining? Or is it making peace with who you are and where you stand? makes a man? Is it power? Is it fame? Is it money? Is it just a game? Is it always wanting more? Or is it in finding peace in what you had all along? Is it things you've done, places that you've been, chasing down some dream you've been imagining? Or is it making peace with who you are and where you stand? I'm trying to find what makes a man. I've been trying to find what makes a man. I've been trying to find what makes a man. What makes a man? I've been trying to find what makes a man. It's 3.2 from the driveway of my house to your apartment where I am waiting now. Come on, don't think night's young. Let's go. NYC, Portland, Austin, Anaheim. Maybe not Anaheim. Keep an open mind. I'm just saying, baby, let's go. I don't care. Anywhere. Like a river connects to the ocean, this pavement touches wherever we're going. White lines flying by, who knows what we'll find. You and me tonight. Drive. Let's drive. When's the last time we dropped our things and went? Woke up somewhere that we've both never been. Growing up doesn't mean getting older. Maybe it's just left turns off familiar streets. I just wanna come back with a memory. Growing up doesn't mean getting older. I don't care. Anywhere. Like a river connects to the ocean, this pavement touches wherever we're going. White lines flying by, who knows what we'll find. You and me tonight. Let's drive. Let's drive. Remember when we were young and free, oh, the way it used to be. Tell me, can we go back? It's 3.2 from the driveway of my house to your apartment where I am waiting now. Like a river connects to the ocean, this pavement touches wherever we're going. White lines flying by, who knows what we'll find. You and me tonight. Like a river connects to the ocean, this pavement touches wherever we're going. White lines flying by, who knows what we'll find. You and me tonight. Yeah, let's try. Let's try. Well, I'll be your rainy day lover whenever the sunny days end, and whatever the weather, we have each other, and that's how the story will end. Well, I'll be your shade tree in summer if you'll be my fire when it's cold. And whatever the season, well, we'll keep on breathing, 'cause we'll have each other to hold. And I'll hold you and I'll sing. I wanna love you forever, I do. I wanna spend all of my days with you. We'll carry your burden, be the wind that you're back. Well, I wanna spend my forever, forever like that. Well, I'll be the words on the pages if you'll be my sweet melody. And the tune can keep changing, but love, I'll keep arranging. And this is a song that we'll sing. I'll hold you and I'll sing. I wanna love you forever, I do. I wanna spend all of my days with you. Carry your burden, be the wind that you're back. Well, I wanna spend my forever. When the rain comes, I'll be your shelter. When the wind blows, love will be together. When the storms they rise, well, I'll be right there by your side. And I'll sing, I'm gonna love you forever, I do. I'm gonna spend all of my days with you. We'll carry your burden, be the wind that you're by. I'm gonna spend my forever, forever like that. Get scared? Do you ever get sad? Do you forget the childhood dreams that you had? Hoped it'd be better, but things turned out bad and all went wrong. You don't have to climb mountains or walk on the moon to fill up your heart like a great big balloon. You can't sleep at night, just remember this tune and sing along. Dream on, dream on. Even when you're afraid all your dreams may be gone, just dream on. Dream on. When the world says you're crazy, just tell them they're wrong and dream on. When I was younger, I played make-believe. Now when I close my eyes, I just fall asleep. If you live long enough, life will make you believe that they're gone. But dream on, dream on. Even when you're afraid all your dreams may be gone, just dream on. Dream on. When the world tells you crazy, just tell them they're wrong and dream on. Dream on, dream on, to infinity and far beyond. Maybe they'll take you fabulous places. Maybe you'll wake up right where you belong. Dream on, dream on. Even when you're afraid all your dreams may be gone, just dream on. Dream on. When the world says you're crazy, just tell them they're wrong. When the world says you're crazy, just tell them they're wrong and dream on. If there was anyone I'd want to spend about 100 days with, laying in the yard, staring up at stars, wondering where all the planes went, it would be you. Only you. We might not have forever, no time for taking chances. It would be you, always you. And when the lights go out, we'll just keep on dancing in the dark, as if the world has got to end. You might as well just end up in my arms. In my arms. And we'll leave on the news until the broadcast stops broadcasting. Just making drinks instead of plans while the record player's blasting. I sing, it would be you and only you. We might not have forever, no time for taking chances. It would be you and always you. And when the lights go out, we'll just keep on dancing in the dark, as if the world has got to end. You might as well just end up in my arms. If the sky turns black, if the markets crash, you should check your mom's house, then you should come back. 'Cause when it all goes down, I want you by my side. We could stay up till the last sunrise.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Hi. Hey, guys. My name is Christian Ankrum. I'm up there if you can't read my name tag. And it's so good to be with you here tonight. This is my first time at Amplify. Raise your hand if this is your first time at Amplify. Great. So you're all going to sing a song tonight. That's how we're going to do things. I'm singing one, then we'll just pass the guitar and do the best we can. I am a co-owner of a video studio in Northeast Minneapolis called Aerial View Studio. I'm also the worship leader at Julie Ides Church, The Table, Minneapolis, which meets over at Bethlehem Lutheran in South Minneapolis. So it's a pleasure to be here tonight. With the theme being homelessness, I was this close to learning an Ed Sheeran song, and then I was this close to learning a Genesis song, and then I figured I don't know where we're going with the evening, so I don't want to get into any trouble. But one of the things that we talk about at the table a lot, and actually is one of our mottos, is "Beloved, you belong." And that belonging is a very core thing to what we do at the table and as followers of Jesus. So I'd like to sing a song that I wrote with that in mind. We actually had this big banner that was probably 20 feet wide that just said, "Beloved, you belong." And as a worship leader, it only took me about 4 years to think, oh, I could just steal that lyric and write a song for it. So This song is called Beloved You Belong, and enjoy your food, and I'll play a little song for us. No matter the cost, you never gave up on us. No matter how lost, you never stopped searching for us. You said love conquers sin, and all can enter here. Beloved, you belong. You have called me beloved. Beloved, you belong. You have called me beloved. No reason to hide, your love draws us into light. Your mercy is wide, you throw hesitation aside. Before we knew your love, you already told us, beloved, you belong. You have called me beloved. Beloved, you belong. You have called me beloved. When we're lost and all alone, your word will guide us home. Beloved, you belong. You have called me beloved. Beloved, you belong. You have called me beloved. Thank you. I don't have instructions, but I'm assuming that Julie's coming up to point this way and tell me to get off the stage. Perfect, okay.
He'll be back. Good evening, everyone. It's so awesome to see such a full house. Thank you so much for making this a priority tonight. So, a little audience participation right now. I know you're eating, but also want you to pick up a pen, because those of you that were here in January know that we had Joel sing a song, especially for the new people, and I loved it so much that he recorded it for me so that we can all hear it again and pay particular attention if you're new. Let's listen.
What's that? Yeah, just let me know when it's on. Okay. Are you new here? Can I get a show of hands? Or have you been here since the very first year Amplify began? Whether you're new or not, there's something that we all share. It's the form you got, and this is the perfect spot to start filling out that thing with care. We'll even all you anyway. We just wanna get to know you, so fill in your name, your address, who you work for. Don't be afraid. We'll never send a windowless van to your home or work. We'll even all you anyway. How about an email so that we can send you updates? A phone number that you prefer would sure be great.
So, if you're new tonight, we'd love you to take your feedback form and fill out the back so we can get to know you a little better, know what you're interested in, and find out how we can plug you in and engage you in the work of Amplify. I also want to tell you, if you're new here tonight, you're not here by accident, but you're here on purpose, and we want you to participate fully. Your voice is important in this room, so when we get to the brainstorming sessions, don't sit back and listen. You have something to share, and we want you to feel free to share it. So, thank you. And then I want to ask those of you that have been here before, if you would consider marking the bottom part where it asks you how you might like to plug in. We are always looking for coaches, facilitators, greeters, mentors. So consider checking one of those boxes, and I'd love to talk to you more about it. I also want to remind you that this feedback form is different than the brainstorming session you're going to do. So it really matters to have you fill it out because we use it to compile a summary report for our executive directors. And they love the encouraging words you share, the contacts, the ideas, the questions, and the thoughts. So while they're up here talking, if you would take a pen and just jot down thoughts. Last meeting, we got 45 back. So I'm going to challenge this room to give us more than 45 tonight. And there's a basket right over there. When you leave, if you'll just stick your feedback form in there, it really makes a difference. And finally, on the feedback form, in the middle, there's tangible needs that each nonprofit ministry has listed. If you're able to help with any of them, would you check the box? Okay, now I'd like to thank our meeting sponsor for tonight, Gary Norton and the Brookshire Company. Is Gary here? Where is he? Stand up, Gary. Yay, let's give him a round of applause. So these meetings, believe it or not, aren't free, but everybody gets to participate free. So we're so grateful for companies and individuals who agree to help sponsor these meetings and cover the hard costs. So thank you again. We're so grateful. Amplify has a theme every year, and our theme for 2023 is unknowing. So tonight, let's let go of our conscious and unconscious judgments and practice unknowing and unlearning what we think about homelessness and those that are homeless. I am honored to introduce our speakers for tonight, Melissa Pullman and Cecil Scott. Melissa is pastor for community ministries at Central Lutheran Church, and Cecil works with Street Voices of Change, a group of individuals who have current or past personal experiences with homelessness, and they come together to build a community and make positive changes in the lives of those people experience homelessness and the systems that contribute to that homelessness. Let's welcome Melissa and Cecil.
Well, thank you so much. It is amazing to be here tonight. And she already told you all the things about me I was going to tell you, so we're good. No, I'll just turn over to Cecil. My name is Melissa Pullman. I'm one of the pastors at Central Lutheran Church in downtown Minneapolis. This is a church that for over 50 years has walked alongside of folks experiencing homelessness and poverty in downtown. And how did I get there? Because when I was 8 years old, my mom taught me how to answer the phone. My dad worked really hard. He was trying to start his own business, and starting a concrete company in Upper Michigan wasn't easy. And my mom was the bookkeeper at home and at work, and not always did things match up. So my mom taught me how to answer the phone in case the mortgage people were calling. So I'd answer the phone, "Hello, can I help you?" And they would say, "Can I talk to your mom?" And I'd say, "Oh, she's not here right now." And they'd say, "Can you take a message?" I'd say, "Yeah, of course I can." And then I'd pretend to take the message and hang up the phone as quickly as I could, and then tell my mom. One time when I answered the phone and the mortgage folks were calling, wondering where their check was, I said, "Oh yeah, I can take your message." And then the guy on the other side of the line said, "And now read that back to me, young woman." That didn't go very well. So we grew up with two parents who worked really hard, but really was having a hard time making ends meet. I knew what meal we were having at home if we were out of groceries. We were eating that round bologna sausage. If we were eating that and fried potatoes with bread in it to make them stretch, I knew it was the last meal. So, I also knew, though, that every time we went to church, people fed me. People fed me and welcomed me and loved me. And we went to the Lutheran church because it was close to our house. And the people there were nice. And my Girl Scout troop met in the basement. That's what it took. Some nice folks in a Girl Scout troop meeting spot, some Girl Scout cookies, and coffees and cookies and meals on Lenten Wednesdays. I knew I wanted to stay close to this Jesus who made sure that people got fed and that people had somewhere to stay and that people were loved. And honestly, I didn't behave very well in the pews, so I thought the best route for that was just to be a pastor. Because if everybody's looking at me, I behave a lot better than if I'm sitting in the pews. So I did. I did the work, and I did the prayer, and I did the theology, and all the things I needed to do to be a pastor. And when I was called to Central Lutheran, I was called to be the director for community ministries and to inherit this over 50-year ministry of mostly closed closet work, health commons, job coaching, and the like. But every single Thursday, it is my absolute joy at Central Lutheran to be the person who makes sure breakfast happens and the tokens get handed out at Street Voices of Change. Street Voices of Change is folks with lived experience of homelessness working to change the conditions of being homeless in Minneapolis. And in my over 10 years at Central, I have learned that if you've met one person experiencing homelessness, that's exactly who you've met. You've met one person experiencing homelessness. Everyone experiencing homelessness has their own story, have their own background, have their own families, have their own cultures, have their own ways that they got into homelessness, and have their own hopes and dreams for ending their homelessness. If you've met one person experiencing homelessness, you've met one person. And we know there's some trends and some themes about who are homeless and when and why and how and what we can do to end homelessness. One of the biggest pieces that we see at Central is if that you are a youth or a young adult, most of those folks are homeless because they're LGBTQIA and that their families have said to them, get out. It's the vast majority of youth and young adults that we meet. We also meet folks for whom one bad night made them homeless for years. One missed paycheck made them homeless for years. We know that when folks become homeless, it's so much harder to get them out of it than it is to help them stay in their housing. So at Street Voices of Change, we gather together on Thursdays to find out from one another, what are we struggling with? What are we dealing with? Because we also know that folks who are experiencing homelessness know what they need to end their homelessness. They are the experts of their own condition. And so that's why I'm going to stop talking, because I want you to meet and hear from my friend Cecil. Cecil and I have known each other for about 10 years, is what we figured out at the table just now, because someone asked, we're like, how long have we known each other? And Cecil is one of our amazing leaders in Street Voices of Change. So I'm going to step by, I'm going to watch the clock, and I'm going to turn things over to Cecil. Thanks, Cecil.
Good evening. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna start with a little bit about my background. I was born in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was raised in North Minneapolis. At a very early age, my mother, she married a man who was a Baptist minister. And that's the man that I call my father to this day. He instilled a lot of good things in me. Well, as as I started getting older, I started rebelling from my home. It was due to different things that happened, like crack cocaine. My family was virtually destroyed by crack cocaine. We were a really big, tight family, and we used to do things, camping, fishing, and, railroad games, and just a lot of different things, a lot of activities together. Then when the drugs came, they just destroyed all of that, and most of the kids my age ended up with my grandmother, and it was a really tough struggle. We had some really hard times, with having proper clothes for school and food. I remember there was a really terrible time when we didn't have enough food, and my grandmother worked for General Mills in Plymouth, and she brought home the food that she could from there. And one of the things that she brought home was cream of wheat. And the reason why they gave her the cream of wheat, it had wheat germ in it that had fully processed, so there was wheat germ living in there. And my grandmother, she told me, she said, baby, you're gonna be all right. You can eat it. You put the hot water on it, and they're gonna die. You can eat it. You'll be all right. And she was right. It was hard at that point in time, but I'm here. I'm here right now because of that. So I love and I miss my grandmother. She passed away. So I'm gonna move on. Around the age of 12, around the age of 11, my biological father died. Now, not my mother's husband. My biological father died. Maybe 2 to 3 years after that, my mother's husband, my father, died. A few years after that, my mother died. At that point in time, I had already been raising myself on the streets due to not my father, but my mother and my biological father's drug addiction. I had ran away at maybe 12 or 13 years old, and I was raising myself. So when my mother passed away at 17, I was already full grown into the streets, and I made a lot of bad choices. I bumped my head quite a few times, and took a lot for me to learn, that there was a better way and an easier way to do things in life and earn a righteous life. So I'm gonna move a little bit further. I was in my 20s, and I had a really, really bad relationship that lasted into my 30s. And after that breakup, I chose to be homeless. Went out into the streets, didn't really even know how to be homeless. A lot of people may not understand that you have to have a knowledge of homelessness to be homeless. I did things like I slept in the park, I slept on the city bus or the train when that came. I didn't know how to be homeless. I didn't realize that there were shelters that you could go and sleep in, and I didn't realize that there was places that would feed you. So my street survival skills helped me get hotel rooms and feed myself until I did learn those skills. And let's see here. During my time when I did learn about the shelters and things like that, I lost a lot of love from my family. Some people just felt that I was far more intelligent than I was acting, which in some cases they might be, but when you're in this struggle, it's a lot of fear and a lot of rejection. And so a lot of times you won't even want to ask for help. So moving on, I seen a flyer. It's a flyer said a breakfast and free bus tokens. Come to our meeting. It was like one of the first Street Voices meetings. And I solely went there just to get the meal and the bus tokens. But as I was sitting there eating, I'm listening to what they were talking about, and I started getting involved with it, and I started seeing that there was other people like me, and they were wanting the same things that I was wanting. I didn't want to be homeless, but I didn't have any plan, and I started out not even knowing how to be homeless. So I started participating more and more in this group, and during that time, I also was going to college at the technical college in Brooklyn Center to become a machinist. I had a job that wasn't really paying that much, but it was supplying me with what I needed at that point in time. And then the minimum wage went up to like $9. I was getting like $7.25 or something an hour. So they fired my whole department. They didn't fire us. They said they laid us off, but it was a permanent layoff. So now I'm homeless. I'm in school, no job, no income. And I just was like feeling lost and wandering the streets and not really having a focus or a plan to do anything. And during that time, I experienced a few things. Well, I eventually did get another job working with a temp agency. And one morning I was going to work, and I seen a man get murdered. I was maybe 30 feet away from him, and a guy walked up behind him and shot him in his head. I'm going to eat breakfast, and I see a man get murdered right in front of me. I watched the man fall to the ground and take his last breath. And that was the first indicator to me that I needed to change my life. I needed to get out of the streets, but I still didn't know how. Didn't have a plan, no focus. So I kept on in the streets, and I still was a part of Street Voices, still continuing to go and do that. Then another time, wrong place, wrong time. Some people decided that they wanted to rob me, and they robbed me. They stunned me with a stun gun. A truck pulled up beside me, and the guy said, "Hey!" I turned to look, and the guy stunned me on the other side. I fell and split my whole face open. This terrible, terrible thing. And people walked by me on the street, bleeding out of my face, just stepping over me, and nobody tried to help me. I regained consciousness hours later, and there were some people going to the Street Voices meeting that knew me, and they seen me, and they brought me there to Pastor Melissa, and they took care of me, and they encouraged me and let me know it was going to be all right. And I started having a little bit more focus, yet at the same time, that same thought was in my head. If I did not change it, I was going to die in the streets like I seen that man die. If I didn't do something, I was going to die. So I started working harder and harder and harder, saving my money. It took me about 18 months from that point right there to pull myself out of homelessness. With the help and advice from my friends, I pulled myself out of homelessness. And I was out of homelessness for 5 years. 5 years doing it all myself, no government assistance, nothing. I was working hard. Just recently, my landlord came and gave me a notice of removal. They wanted me to leave the apartment because they said they needed to redo the electrical wiring in my building. It was over 100 years old. And that I knew because I was experiencing problems with the electricity. My electrical bill was that high. So they gave me 60 days. I've been there 5 years. They gave me 60 days. I fell into a really extreme depression. Now, I've been living alone for 5 years, and a truck crashed into the building, busted out 2 of the apartments. So the front of the building was busted out for like 10 months. Mice came into the building when it got cold. So now they fixed the building, but now we're overwhelmed with mice. So I got a cat. Yeah, I got a cat. I got a cat. She was 4 months old. She's my baby. She's such a precious animal. You know, she loves me. She waits at the door for me like a puppy, you know. I named her Sticky McSnickums. she AKA Sticky, you know. I mostly call her Boo Boo. She don't even answer the Sticky. She just answers the Boo Boo. And so a part of me having to leave that place, I had to figure out what I was going to do with my cat. And it was breaking my heart because I can't be homeless with my cat. I can't allow my cat to be in this situation. I may be able to do it, but the cat is not going to be able to do it. And I don't know if you can understand the bond that I have with my cat. It was really hard. So in this 60 days, 30 of those days I spent in extreme depression, and most of it was trying to figure out where I was going to place my cat. How was I going to keep track of my cat and make sure my cat was safe? And it's even hurt me right now, but she's safe. She's safe. I found somebody to take care of her. But during that 30 days of my depression, I just sat and I thought to try and figure out what my problems were, what was causing this. And I found out that it was the control that was in my life. It was too many people had control of me. My job, if I didn't go to work, I don't eat. Don't pay my bills, my rent. If I don't pay my landlord, I gotta go. It's too much control. And so once I figured that out, I realized that I had fear of these things. I had fear of losing my job. I had fear of my boss saying, oh, you can't come back. And same thing with my landlord, you can't come back. So I started trying to figure out my fear, and I realized that my fear is not even real. It's my mind, it's my imagination creating something that doesn't even exist. I'm telling myself that these things could happen, and they're not necessarily gonna happen. So once I figured that part out, I was able to let go of the fear. And I was able to let God, I was able to pray and say, God, remove this fear from me. Help me with this struggle. And then I was able to go outside again. And once I started going outside again, I was able to communicate with my friends and the people who love me. And I realized who cared and who loved me and how I could change myself again. So then I was like, okay, so now I understand this situation. God has put me through this homelessness again so I can learn something that I missed the first time. And maybe I can help somebody else in this homeless situation. And so that is exactly what I've been trying to do. And thus far, I've been being pretty successful at it. I just want you all to know and understand that every homeless person is not the same. We all have different situations that put us here into homelessness, and we all have different lives and different things that we're gonna do and live. And please don't be judgmental. Please don't be judgmental. Just see us as people, not as a homeless person. Thank you all.
Thank you, Cecil. Thank you for the look into what life is like and has been like for you, and thank you for the challenge for all of us. And now, before we hear from our ministries, we always like to pause and listen to how Amplify has impacted the life of a partner or the life of a ministry director. Tonight we're going to hear from Seth Ralston, who was a participant in our Learning Academy. Let's listen.
Hey everyone, my name is Seth Ralston. I serve as an engagement leader at Thrivent here in the Twin Cities, and I've been fortunate to be a part of Amplify in a variety of capacities. Starting back in 2018, my nonprofit I was working for even got to present at one of the meetings, and then back in January of this year, Thrivent was fortunate to sponsor the January meeting. I also, probably the most impactful experience was going through the Learning Academy back in 2020. Unfortunately, it was during COVID, so it was all online, but it was still just such an impactful experience for my leadership ability, going through my young career, and just learned a ton. We covered topics like priority setting, clarifying our mission and our model of how we do things, marketing, team building, and so much more. It was just great to learn from leaders throughout the Twin Cities. And it was also great to just meet other people. In my role now at Thrive, and I get to work with nonprofits, and so many of the people I met through the academy, I still try to keep in touch with. And so it was just great to go through similar experiences together, learn from each other, and just build those relationships in just unique ways. And so I want to give a huge shout out to Julie and the team for putting on such an amazing experience. This academy is impactful for so many people. And then I want to thank you guys for those in attendance at the meeting tonight. I've been there. I know the impact that those opportunities to present have, and your wisdom is just goes a long way for these nonprofits. And so just want to say thanks. And if you or someone you know is in a nonprofit leadership role, highly recommend going through the Learning Academy. So be sure to sign up or learn more there at the meeting tonight. So thank you guys and enjoy your time.
That was awesome. Thank you, Seth, wherever you are, for those amazing words of encouragement for all of us. But tonight, I get to do something really cool. I get to share with all of you two amazing people who have just a beautiful vision. Chris and Rachel residents are here tonight to share their story of Allos Ministries. And I don't want to steal their thunder or share any of their background. I'll let them tell their story. But I want to share with you how I have been impacted by getting to work with them for the last 2 months, really, in preparing for tonight. So my background is in communication and change management and human resources, so I like a good storytelling. But I will tell you that Chris and Rachel's story challenged me to think about how I live out my faith every day and those opportunities that we are all called to lead in to the opportunities that God has called us to serve in. So with all of that, I would like to encourage you all to open your ears, but more importantly, open your hearts to hear the story of Chris and Rachel as they share the story of Allos Ministries. And now they get to do the long walk through those tables.
All right, well, thank you for the introduction. We're super excited to be here. Like she said, I'm Chris. This is my wife, Rachel. We are the founders of Allos Ministries. And just wanted to start off by telling you what Allos means. It means another. It's the word that Jesus used in John 14:16. He said, I'm going to ask the Father, and he's going to send another helper in my place, that he will be with you forever. And the Greek word used there for another is allos. So simply put, we are just another ministry. And our goal is to do another time what God's done for us and enable the next person to do that another time for the next person, and just keep in that cycle of kingdom expansion. So we became an official ministry in 2021, but we have been playing our role in that kingdom expansion ever since he first saved us. So our aim is to teach people to live life after whatever it is that's keeping them from being who God created them to be. Whether it's homelessness, addiction, or trauma, we just want to be able to help them experience the truth and the reality of the freedom that Jesus offers. So that's me before, so life before. That was me going into treatment, went to Teen Challenge. I was completely lost, hopeless. I was sleeping behind a bush. I would sneak behind my parents' house and sleep behind their bush, and then I'd leave before the sun came up. My brother committed suicide when I was super young, and in my grief, I turned to drugs for comfort. And this numbed me from the trauma that I had experienced. So I started with smoking pot, moved all the way up into meth. I tried treatment. I was in and out of jail multiple times. And in my time in jail, I experienced small windows of sobriety. But as soon as I was able, I would start using again. And there was just nothing that could fill that void in my life. I tried treatment multiple times, in and out of jail. Looking back at those times when I was in jail, the last time I was there is when I really started to see God pursuing me. I went in, I was skin and bones, I was 130 pounds. I couldn't get out of bed, would just lay in bed in jail. And every time I would come to, there'd be a sandwich under my pillow. And the guy next to me, he just said it looked like I needed it more than he did. That same guy told the guards to bring me an application for Teen Challenge. So they brought me that. I didn't know what Teen Challenge was, but I filled it out. And that's when I really started to see God chasing me down. Teen Challenge eventually came to get me. They picked me up from the hospital that same day with that picture. Got my nose broken, someone punched me, ended up there, and they were waiting for me when I got out. So I left my hometown with an extra towel and a pair of shorts and never looked back. So at first, getting into Teen Challenge, I was skipping programming, I was snorting lines in the bathroom, not participating in the program. One of the counselors just told me about the baptism of the Holy Spirit, recommended that I go through with it. He gave me some homework, told me to research it, see if I believe it, see if I want to go through and experience that. Said if I'm going to try this Christian thing, I might as well go all in and do this. So I was baptized in the Holy Spirit, and instantly in that moment, completely set free and healed from my addiction. Yeah, so that's never again have I considered myself an addict. It's been, I don't even count. A lot of people are in their recovery. It's like it's been 8 years, 6 months. It's been around 10 years now that I've been completely free. So going into treatment, going into Teen Challenge, the next 12 months, it would have been super easy for me to start worrying about all the stuff in my life that I had to figure out. Would have been trying to plan my future. And that would have even been the right thing to do in the perspective of the world. I had absolutely nothing in my name. I had no license. I had no car. I had no family in the area. All my bills and debts were in collections. I was on felony probation in multiple states. I had prison time hanging over my head, but I was able to cling to this verse, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you. And if he can set me free instantly from a 10, 15-year addiction, then he can definitely come through on his promise to provide. And that's what he did. One promise after the next, one prayer after the next. He started coming through, starting with how I met my wife here.
So on my 20th birthday, I gave myself a challenge to try to eat 20 donuts because I was turning 20. And I brought that box of donuts to visit a friend who was also in the program at Teen Challenge at the time. And unfortunately, I was not able to complete that challenge of eating 20 donuts. So I passed the box of donuts off to a guy who I thought kind of looked like he needed some donuts. And it turns out I ended up marrying him a year and a half later. Right. So that July, I was on a missions trip to Haiti Teen Challenge, and I had a dream. I was dating that same donut guy who I actually didn't know at all. I just remember seeing his face and heard the name before. And so when I got back to the States, I contacted my girlfriend and told her I felt like I needed to meet him. And the same week that we met, Chris also prayed that God would bring someone into his life. And 6 months after that, we were engaged, and 3 months after that, we were married. A week before we got married, we were able to close on our first house in Shakopee, a cute little rambler. I was delivering pizza at the time. He was a kitchen cook for $12 an hour, and there was really virtually no reason we got approved for a home.
Shouldn't have happened.
Zero credit. I mean, terrible finances. Yeah, it was, but we got it. And we just knew God was going to do something bigger with this house than we could see. We were able to convert that little rambler into a 6-bedroom, 2 kitchen, 2 bath, and 2 living room. And since then, we have added 5 biological children between us. We have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, almost 2-year-old, and then a sweet little 2-month-old who is in the hallway somewhere with my awesome uncle who is watching her right now. And recently we had the awesome opportunity to take in a little 4-year-old girl named Ruby. So her story is her mom came to us to find a job. She came to one of our Red Savoy Pizza locations, and Chris knew she was on drugs, but wanted to give her a chance because he felt like God had a purpose for her, just had that tingle in him that she needs to be there. Fast forward, she ends up getting in trouble, and through opportunity employment, she worked for us for about 5 months before she got in trouble. Ended up going to Teen Challenge, but when she gets out, she'll be able to manage one of our pizza places. And that's kind of what we're doing with opportunity employment. So we currently own 3 restaurants. We own Red Savoy Pizza in Shakopee, Eden Prairie, and Chaska. And we're hoping her mom will complete the program and be able to help us out there.
Yeah, so that's just a perfect picture of the mission of Alos. So the mission is to bring another level of purpose and living to those who are weary from the burdens of life, to walk with them and work with them so that they can learn to live freely with a foundation in Christ. So we don't want to have any barriers to the people we can serve. And if there's a burden in life, whether it's big or small, mine was addiction, let's teach people to detach it from themselves and set it down. And just like Jesus took my addiction, he can take away the burden. And when people can let go of that burden and learn to stay free and develop that foundation, now they can be filled up with him and start to build that foundation on solid ground. So with that mom and daughter, that's the perfect thing that we're doing right now is she's in Teen Challenge. She can do it. She doesn't have to worry about anything going on outside. She just has to worry about herself and her relationship with God. And when she gets out, she's going to have a house, a job, and her daughter's going to be well taken care of while she's there. So we've been uniquely positioned with all these opportunities, one after the next, that enable us to love and serve the people around us. So like she said, the month I graduated Teen Challenge, I was making $12 an hour at that first pizza place, Red Savoy Pizza. 10 months after that, we got approved to buy the house. Again, shouldn't have been approved right away. We talked, we're like, God is doing something here. There's no reason we should have this right now. He's doing something, and we're gonna keep this. We're gonna use it for something. And that house became the first official opportunity home. 4 years after this, the owner of Red Savoy Pizza sat me down, and he's like, I was just talking to my wife, just wondering why in the world did God have me buy this place? I think God had me buy it to sell it to you. And I said, I couldn't agree more. Let's do that. Let's move forward. So we did, and that paved the way for the first place for opportunity employment. So a place where we could teach people, train people into the people who God intended them to be, and people that any employer would be lucky to have, just like that guy up there on the screen.
So that is Matt. He lives in our house. He moved into our first opportunity home about a year ago. And so when he came to us, he was addicted to heroin, jobless, had nothing to his name. He also overdosed 12 times prior. He lost a girlfriend who was pregnant with his baby to an overdose, and he also had to be revived twice. He came in, like I said, hopeless, didn't really know what to do, started working at one of our Red Savoys and worked his way up, and now is currently managing our brand new Chaska location with 20 employees under him. He's been sober for over a year now. Last summer, he was baptized at Hosanna Church and is currently being mentored by their campus pastor. Yeah, it's so awesome, whole new creation now. And through Alos, we were able to help him get his license. He has a car now. He has a therapy dog. He has a bearded dragon. And he he likes animals. See, there's Matt, there's Bobo. You know, you have Boo Boo and he is Bobo. She's the house dog. She kind of watches over those guys over there. And you know, truly, he has been able to live life after and learn how to do that in a healthy way with a healthy community surrounded around him. So that brings us to where we are today. We are in the business of teaching people how to live life after. We currently have one active opportunity home with 6 men on a waiting list, with 6 men living there with a long waiting list to get in. Each resident is currently working through a personalized renewal plan, attending a weekly Bible study, and meeting with a mentor. They're required to also volunteer 5 hours a week at Heartland in Shakopee, which is also connected to Hosanna Church. And like I previously mentioned, we own and operate 3 Red Savoy pizzas, Chaska, Eden Prairie, and Shakopee. We have 5 more territories to open in the next 6 years. We employ 60 employees, and 15 of those are experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, so when we were living in that first opportunity, the first house that became the opportunity home, and we knew that God was doing something, and we got this restaurant through the guy literally said, I think God had me buy it to sell it to you. So we knew God was up to something. So through much prayer and asking him what he's doing, he gave me a number. He just said 8, and 8 is not significant to me. It's not a favorite number. It means absolutely nothing, so I knew that was him talking. And he just said 8 restaurants, 8 houses. So I called the CEO of Red Savoy Pizza. I said, I want to buy 7 more territories. And he told me the price, and I'm like, all right, well, that's a good dream for me to hold on to. We'll get there one day. He loves what we do and how we treat people, so he actually made it work, which is just crazy. He made a plan with us, so we were able to purchase the 7 from that phone call conversation. And so we've got the area development agreement for 8 total stores. So just like that, the first 8 restaurants were set into motion, and just another thing that shouldn't have happened. Then in October of 2021, got an email from a Scott County employee, said he wanted to meet, hear about Owls. So we got together, we chatted, he loved it. We said goodbye. A couple weeks later, he said, my boss wants to meet now. So we went and chatted, him and his boss, and she loved it. She's like, yeah, we have money, we want to give it to you, or we want to give it to people so we can help this. We all have the same goals, but government's not the answer. So that was that. She said they have money, maybe we could use it. And then I got another email a few weeks later. They wanted me to come into the government center and meet with more government people. So we went and met with the commissioners, and a big table of 10 other people shared the vision. And then they tell me they have $1.5 million to use to help people experiencing homelessness in Scott County. And then they're like, why are we talking to Chris though? Let's talk to other people. Why are we just sitting here talking to Chris? So they opened up this big long year discussion with nonprofits and churches and businesses and just anybody who's got a hand in the issue. After that full year, that went on the whole year of 2022, these roundtable discussions on how we could best use this money to help homeless people. At the end of that, they decided to award Owls Ministries with the full $1.5 million. So that money has to be used specifically in Scott County to help families experiencing homelessness. So by the end of 2023, we plan to have 3 properties. 2024, we'll be at 5 properties. 2025, we'll be at 8 properties. That's our 8 right there. So in another crazy way, we see our 8 houses and our 8 restaurants coming to fruition. And I don't think that, we're not going to stop there. I think God just used that number to get me to move in faith. And like I said, it's just one crazy thing after the next. But these houses, these 8 houses, are all going to be located in Scott County. And I think that's going to create a good model to go to other counties. And our big vision is that we're going to have a cluster of houses, or a neighborhood even, around each restaurant that we open, offering opportunity employment and opportunity housing.
Yes, but Chris and I are the only team members currently. We have one home with a waiting list to get in. And last year we had around 15 donors and 28,000 that came through, but with the mortgage, insurance, electricity, everything. It's around 40,000 to run just the one house. We are currently working on building a board. We have a few members. We're still looking for some more. We're networking with local churches, with Hosanna Church in Shakopee leading the way. And yeah, that is where we're at.
Yeah, so as you can see, God has really been doing some awesome things. He's got a big vision for us, and we're fortunate enough to be right in the middle of his vision. He's been moving us towards this vision in ways that are just undeniably him, one after the next. No matter how crazy or unrealistic it seems, he's always comes through, and he continues to come through. He always provides, and his kingdom is always advanced. So we believe that he led us here today because there's people in this room who are going to be instrumental in seeing us help advance this vision. So our question for you guys is, how can ALOS quickly build the organization with the right team and funding that will honor this opportunity for us as believers to work side by side with local government to end the cycle of homelessness?
The end.
Okay, I'm going to take a couple questions, but before I do that, I just want you to know they're really supposed to be standing up on this stage because the ministry that was supposed to be presenting tonight, way back when we start the coaching, had to cancel. And so I was quickly scrambling and trying to figure out who was a good fit. And Tony had introduced me earlier to Chris. So I pick up the phone, I dial Chris, Chris answers. I said, "Hi, it's Julie Eide. Do you have a couple minutes?" He goes, "Sure, my wife is giving birth to a baby, but we're right in the middle of things, so it's fine."
I was just sitting in the
5,
chair.
yeah.
She was in the bed.
We were good.
Yeah.
So I said, maybe this isn't a good time, and maybe it won't be a good time. No, it's going to be a good time. We'll have it all under control. So anyway, couple minutes to couple questions. Raise your hand, and they'd be happy to answer. I know there's questions out there. Come on, you guys. Yes.
So you've got one restaurant open today, right?
3 restaurants.
And are they profitable?
Yeah, they're profitable. I mean, it's been crazy times with COVID. We came back from that. We lost some sales to catering and dine-in from that, but
So now you have 5 more that are open. Will you be able to pay yourselves for the profits of running 8 restaurants?
so that is the big vision, and that's why we believe God said 8 and 8 is because we want the ministry to be fully funded by the restaurant. As you can see, we had way less money coming in than was needed. So Red Savoy has fully funded ALOS and created ALOS. That is my job. I don't get paid. No one gets paid within ALOS. So my job is basically running the restaurants. Yeah.
Yes, Dan.
What can your grant be used for?
It has to be used to purchase the homes. And then Heartland is going to be our partner in renovating the homes. So we're going to buy these houses. We're going to have Heartland go in, turn them into homes. And so there's a certain amount of money set aside for the renovations. But that's it. So no programming, nothing else. Just the purchase of the homes and the renovation.
One more question? Yes.
Is there a chance that the homes can be self-funding or at least break even? Is that your hope that the homes themselves can get to a point that as people move in, they work and they break even?
Yep. So it is required because we have these places that people can work. So you can't live there and not work. If, we have a job and we're going to work with you as much as it takes to get you to be successful in that. The houses from Scott County, they're not going to have a mortgage on them. So right away, we're going to have just a 30% of your income goes to rent. So if they're making $200 a week, it's just 30%, whatever it is. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tim Smith, and I have the privilege of having worked with a really cool ministry called The Haven. And we had an arm wrestling tournament here with the 3 coaches. I know we're supposed to be really mature as coaches, but we all wanted to introduce The Haven. I won. But that's because the other two coaches are out of the country here. So, but I think I won. You're going to love what you see and what you hear from seeing the ministry. It's a great ministry, beautiful heart behind it. You're going to be amazed at how much they've grown in the 3 years from the inception of the concept to where they are right now. But you're also going to feel the passion and the commitment. And I'll introduce Jenna, I just did. But Jenna and her other two co-founders had this passion for about 3 years. Prior to that, they worked with Young Life, and they ran into kids who were homeless. And God put a burden on their heart to empower vulnerable young adults and to help them kind of reach a potential that they didn't know that they could reach, or they just came from dysfunctional families or situations where they didn't have some of that input and the direction. And I want to just talk about the whole ministry, but I'll let Jenna come up and talk about it, but she's going to start it off with a video. I've seen it 5 times, I've cried 5 times, so good luck.
Hey Kaylee, we got your call asking about available apartments. We do have a 1-bedroom available for $1,100. You can apply online, there's a $50 application fee, and we require a credit check and proof that your income is at least 3 times the rent amount. If you get approved, we'll need a security deposit along with the first month's rent.
Kaylee, we are so glad you're here. We believe you were created by a loving God who sees you, knows you, adores you, and has brought you here for a reason. Before you were born, God knit you together, creating the incredible woman you are today. Here in this place, you can rest. You can take off everything that weighs you down and receive the peace that God offers. We are here for you. We have been praying for you. We are excited to have you join this family. You are beautiful and brave, and you belong here. Welcome home.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenna Liebert and I am one of the co-founders and executive directors of The Haven. We do have two other co-founders and executive directors, Bethany and Andrew O'Reilly. Bethany could unfortunately not make it tonight, but Andrew's over here sitting at this table. And like Tim was saying, so all three of us went to college together. We graduated Bethel University in 2016 and became really good friends there. And after college, we volunteered for an organization called Young Life, where we worked with inner city youth. Most of our kids came from Roosevelt High School in South Minneapolis. And we quickly found out that most of our kids came from really broken homes or toxic environments where they didn't have the family support that they needed or any consistent adult in their life that they could rely on. So Young Life really became a space where they could not only come and hang out with friends and have a good time and eat a good meal, but also have adult leaders in their life who are pouring into their life and loving on them and showing what community living looked like. But what happened was when our kids were graduating high school, they became stuck because it was this pivotal time in their life where they're trying to move on and become adults and find a job and go to college. But they didn't have that support and that family backing to be able to do that. They didn't have the tools they needed. So they would come back to Young Life and ask to be a part of our program. And it was really heartbreaking because we had to turn them away because it was only for high school students. So we recognized that there was this very evident need, this gap, and the Lord really laid it on our hearts to enter in and fill that gap with a safe space for young people like Kaylee to be able to call home. So that's where the idea for the Haven was born. So the mission of the Haven is to empower young adults to reach their full potential by providing safe, affordable housing and Christ-centered community. And a lot of thought went behind that mission statement, even down to the words that we used, because yes, we wanted to address the idea and the issue of homelessness, but we also recognize that deep relationships and community living is vital in someone's life and can really change the trajectory of someone's life. And we wanted the Haven to be a part of that. So if we were just looking to get people off the streets, we would have bought a building with 100 beds, but instead we bought a single family home with 3 beds for 3 young women to live, because we really believe that embodies a healthy family and a home. And so each young woman at the Haven is deeply known with the goal for them to really know their true identity and worth in Christ and have a personal relationship with Jesus. So this is just a quick timeline of how we started and where we're at today. Again, the idea was born 3 years ago, back in July of 2019. I hope you guys can see that. Yes, back in July of 2019. And we were an official 501c3 approved nonprofit in May of 2021, with our initial goal of raising $60,000 met in a couple months later in July of 2021. A year after that, we did finally buy our first house, which we're very excited about, in July of 2022. And after some renovations, which actually Heartland was a part of, so that was a cool connection. And then we had our first residents move in January of 2023. Yay. Thank you. So right now, we're mainly funded through private donations. We have 32 monthly donors that cover all of our monthly expenses. We do host 2 annual fundraising events, our gala and our 5K race, and both have been very successful. Our gala sold out at over 200 people last year, and we even had people come up asking if they could still attend even though we were at capacity, so that was pretty cool. And then we do also have 1 corporate donor who gives individual gifts as needed. This is just a quick highlight of our financials. So we have our monthly expenses there on the left-hand side and monthly revenue on the right-hand side. And then we have our annual totals at the very bottom there. So as you can see, our annual expenses are over $29,000, and our annual revenue is coming in at over $43,000. The difference being which it is a net profit of just over $14,000, but we don't have any paid positions at this time. So how we're set up practically, we're currently housing young women in need between the ages of 18 and 25. Again, we're really focused on a relational model. So we do have a house mom that lives on site on the property. She actually has her own mother-in-law suite. And she is really there to provide additional support and encouragement to the girls. She hosts weekly office hours where they can come and meet with her and talk about what's going on in their lives and really talk about any needs at that time. She also helps us host our weekly house meetings. So myself, Bethany, and Hannah is the house mom's name. Host these weekly house meetings where we sit down and have a meal together to embody that healthy family. And then we're also going through a Bible study. We're going through the book of John right now. And then we pair each young woman with an individual mentor. And really that's to talk about their passions and what they want to do in life and set goals for themselves. And so between Bethany and myself and Hannah and these mentors, we're really pouring into them and loving on them and showing them what a true Christ-like community can look like. We're also partnering with other people in the community and nonprofit organizations to come in every other month and teach what we're calling life skills classes, ranging from college prep to meal planning to cooking classes. And really we want to teach these young women the skills they need to take with them once they leave the Haven. Again, we have that affordable housing piece as well. So each young woman is required to pay a monthly housing fee of $300 a month and cover their portion of the utilities as well. And this was to really teach them the responsibility of paying their bills on time so that they would have that practice and diligence in place once they leave. So we have a 2-year program with 3 separate phases. The first phase being our shortest phase, which is onboarding. And this is really when the young women move into the Haven. They're getting acclimated to the space and to their roommates. They're meeting their mentor for the first time. They are securing a job if they don't already have one. And they're not required to pay the monthly housing fee at that time. Then we move into the bulk of our programming, which is an 18-month stint. And this is where they're continuing the life skills classes, they're attending the house meetings, they're meeting regularly with their mentor, and they're setting goals for their life. And this is really where they're learning to live on their own as adults. Then we have the third and final phase, which is the transition period, and that's really just looking to life outside of the Haven and what that will look like. They'll meet with Hannah, the house mom, and sit down with her and talk about their housing needs and any other additional support that they might need once they move out of the Haven. So again, this is the team, myself, Bethany, and Andrew. And I have outlined our roles and responsibilities on the left-hand side there. And as you can see, we're all working together on all of these, which is a current and immediate pain point of ours. So all 3 of us do have full-time jobs outside of the Haven, and we're doing the Haven part-time and are not currently getting paid. So how we're operating right now is not sustainable. So we do have a growth mindset for the Haven and a vision over the next 3 years here. We would love to create a leadership structure that clearly delineates roles and responsibilities. We'd like to have sustainable financial backing where we would eventually be able to pay a full-time employee. Programming is a huge part of what we do, so we would like to increase our programming, continue to network and meet with other organizations, and partner with them to provide additional resources to the young women at the Haven. And then we know that this work takes a village, right? So we want to acquire and retain a large volunteer base because eventually we'd love to serve between 20 and 30 young adults, both young women and eventually young men. So again, we really believe in this mission. We've seen firsthand how broken homes and toxic relationships can really cause a person to get stuck, and we believe that the Haven can enter into that space and provide community and show these young adults their true identity and worth in Christ and help them live a life full of purpose and everlasting love. So, given our immediate pain point, and this idea for growth and our vision for the future. We would love for you guys to partner with us and come alongside us to help us devise a near-term process and strategy to move from our current state to a sustainable growing ministry. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions before we break up and do some brainstorming? Yes?
She is currently receiving a monthly stipend, but is not on staff.
Yes.
Most of them work part-time while either going to college or they work full-time, so they'll be paying with the money that they earn from their employment. And we'll be helping them secure those jobs if they don't already have them.
Other questions? Yes.
Yeah, so we have an application page on our website, but the young women that have come there have come through, I don't know if you guys have heard of the organization Treehouse, but we were connected through them. So our first resident actually was someone that was recommended to us from Treehouse. And then the second resident was also word of mouth, so we go to City View Church in South Minneapolis, and someone connected us through there. But we also have reached out to other organizations and have an application page on our website where people can search and apply online.
Steve?
Yes, we do have a board of directors. There's 9 of us, including Bethany and Andrew and I, and we meet bi-monthly. So every other month we meet at City View, actually. Yes, we currently just have one house, and it's located in South Minneapolis. We'd love to have 3 to 5 eventually, serving 20 to 30 young individuals.
Okay, thanks so much,
Thank
Jenna.
you.
Okay, in just a minute I'm going to put you to work, but I'm going to give you a few directions because there's lots of people in the room, and so it might look like it's going to get a little messy, but that's okay. We can do messy, right? So there's 6 facilitators for each ministry. The green table cards are the Haven, the orange table cards are Alos, and there's 2 tables that don't have a facilitator at it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, I have one rule, and those of you who've been here before know my rule, and please be on the honor system to follow it. One of the things I hear all the time is Amplify is such an amazing place to be because it's not cliquey. Okay? So we want to live up to the not clickiness. So that means when I ask you to stand up, you are going to move not with the people at your table. You're going to move without the people at your table. And you're going to go meet some new people tonight. And the other thing I'm going to ask you, if you're sitting along the back wall or at the 2 tables that don't have facilitators, I'm going to ask you to pick up your chair and walk. Okay? So bring your chair and your feedback form with you. We're going to clear the tables of the food that's left. And the tables are going to be bigger than we're used to. I would have ordered more tables. I didn't know you're all coming. So next time, let me know you're coming. And that'd be awesome. But like if we can keep 10 around each table, we want to give everyone a chance to talk. So the facilitators are going to try and manage this. But you guys are all going to follow my rule. The executive directors are going to walk around to each table and answer a question or 2, and they'll keep walking around. You have 30 minutes. We are moving into the 21st century because we have a shot clock. So now you know how much time. Okay, so everybody pick up and move. You can talk later, but everybody's got to stand up and move, except the facilitators. If you're at a table,